What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Madden, do me a favor. Take a moment. Hit the like button, subscribe button, criticism in the comment section, Twitter. Shutdown Safety is my username. A little bit different video than I've ever done before. Have on the Internet Wayback Machine here, Madden NFL 10. And it's funny, when I used to talk about this game, this is by Ian Cummings, and ProTac was kind of his baby. I used to mention that EA would always say they created technologies. And when you go back and you take a look at ProTac, they cite it as an animation technology built as a custom animation system. There's some things in here that I want to discuss with you, but while I discuss them, I'm going to show you Madden 18 later, but I want you to think about your experience with Madden 18 and the important things in May of 2009 EA was focusing when selling us a game on a dated console. Dynamic gang tackling. New, never-before-seen tackling engine in a video game that allows up to 9 players to be involved in a tackle, including offensive and defensive players pushing the pile forward and backwards. Steerable tackles. Dynamically manipulating tackle animations based on player ratings means the difference between a first down or a punt. New offensive line, defensive line interaction system with steerable and branchable animation technology. We can now create a true dynamic pocket around the QB, as well as true flow to the ball on run plays. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go down and we're going to take a look at some other things here, because this is really important to me. And again, think about where you are, Madden 18, what you're playing now, and the game you have in your hands. In real life, a defense playing against a big, bruising player like Brandon Jacobs often will need upwards of 2, 3, or 4 defenders to bring him down. These players need to be able to fight for extra yards at all times. We wanted the bigger, stronger players to be relevant in Madden like they are in real life. This next line I'm going to highlight for you because to me it's really critical to think about. Speed is not the only factor for success in the NFL. It shouldn't be in Madden either. This is 8 years ago. If they're writing this 8 years ago, then they knew at that point the community was starting to see a trend of speed being the most important attribute in the game. I don't know that it's still not. But it sure was amazing to me to go back and read some of this stuff and think about where we are now based on what we were sold then. Now, some other interesting things is it talks about a small player, like Chris Johnson, should not need a large number of defenders to be brought down. But the most important thing I think I read of all this was this line right here. Good defensive players and teams. Good defensive teams should swarm to the ball, adding on to the ball carrier dynamically to ensure him not getting extra yards. Think about Madden 18. Think about when you play the Seattle Seahawks, a team that's known to swarm to the ball carrier. Do you ever see a difference in how they approach a ball carrier versus maybe the Cleveland Browns, a team not really known to swarm to the ball carrier? Now, one thing I also want to bring up, and you guys can go read these articles for yourself. I'm actually going to put a link down in the description to an EA video where they had a faux pas training camp for Madden 10 where they flew, and I don't know if this was real or scripted, but they apparently flew gamers out to this NFL training camp, and they made them act as if they were learning football through playing Madden, and all the things they were learning at this training camp was going to help them beat their friends when they got back home. Very hokey, but very strange and comical in a way. So this is really damaging to EA, in my opinion, as a whole. They talk here about the way for them to build a dynamic and fun NFL game to play was to use a mixture of real-time manipulation and motion capture. They go on to answer a question they ask in this blog. Why not go 100% procedural, you may ask? Moving to a full runtime solution and getting rid of motion capture means handing over full control of your visuals to your code, which is not an acceptable approach, being that we are tasked with creating a true NFL simulation. This to me kind of has that Madden for everybody vibe that we got with Madden 18. But I want you to remember that when we fast forward 6 years in the future, new console, new dev team, and they talk again about organic gang tackles. Forget everything you remember about ProTac, which to be honest with you, based on what I read, seems like it's better than what we have now. Madden NFL 16 delivers the most dramatic tackles in franchise history with a fully organic, physics-based tackling system. Now, they just told us that was incapable of providing true NFL simulation. It goes on to say, we now have fully realized momentum-based organic interactions on tackles that supports a limitless number of defenders attaching to the ball carrier. The system is complemented by new dynamic gang tackling animations that can, quote, go organic based on additional defenders in the proximity. I remember doing a video on this because it doesn't make sense that in one sense they say it's fully organic and then they say it's complemented by a dynamic gang tackle animation, which contradicts itself. Now, with all that aside, we're going to go to Madden 18 and we're going to take a look at this play and we're going to ask ourselves, with what we know about Madden 10, what we know about Madden 16, and where we are with a game that should be 8 years in development past what we've just talked about in some cases, where we are now. I don't see an organic gang tackler. I don't see momentum-based gameplay here. I don't see dramatic, well, I guess it is a dramatic tackle, but it sure doesn't appear to be a fully organic physics-based tackle. I don't see a steering tackle. I don't see players that can attach onto an animation and have any type of change. I see a player that cannot interact because the tackle is started and falls to the ground. I definitely don't see an animation going organic based on additional defenders in the proximity. These are the things we need to talk about, man. It's the thing the community needs to become involved in. Go back to this article. I want you to read this last line here. I did mention it to you the first time intentionally because I wanted to save it for the end. It all adds up to the most authentic tackles ever seen in Madden NFL. Gang tackling is back. Madden 16. Gang tackling is back. We're 2 years later. Where are we, gang tackling? I don't see it. Links in the description. Appreciate you checking this one out. You guys know. Back in the week with more commentary.